Hey golfers, I'm Drew Mahowald of Second Swing Golf. We're here in the Second Swing Tour van, joined by Coss Barnette, and we've got a fun new club to look at today. So the mini driver craze is taking over, Coss, and PING is kind of weaseling its way into the mix here. So the PING Thriver, it's kind of a new, unique build off of the PING G440 Max Thriver. So you've got it in your hand there.
Yeah.
It is a G440 Max 12-degree head, heavier weight both inside the club head and on the back weight here at 38 grams. 3-wood length shaft.
Right.
So you've got it. You're touching it. You're feeling it. What are your first impressions of that?
I mean, honest first impressions. It's a driver with a 3-wood shaft. Is kind of how I see it. But again, you have the great forgiveness and the great look of the new PING G440.
Yeah.
I think that's what stands out. They've improved the sound. They've improved the feel with this product, and I think that's evident here. As far as setup and looks. Again, it's a driver with a 3-wood shaft, but I do think there's a lot of benefits for having a little higher loft. I think that inspires some confidence, seeing that loft down at address, and with that shorter shaft, hopefully, a little bit more control and consistency down the fairway.
And I think what we've seen too in fittings is that so many players that are putting a mini driver in the bag, a vast majority of the shots being hit by that club are off the tee. And so I think PING decided there might be a way to help golfers here with a build like this. So what we're going to have you do is we have got a pretty standard G440 Max 9-degree build here. Same shaft, the Tensai 1K black. We'll have you hit both. We'll compare them head to head. Do you have any indication or any thoughts on what we might see out of this Thriver build from PING?
I'm guessing just the shorter shaft, maybe club head speed goes down just a hair.
Yeah.
Higher loft and maybe a little bit higher launch. And maybe 20 yards shorter or so is what I'm anticipating, but we'll see.
All right, well, let's see what happens.
All right.
That was hit good.
It was more off the toe, but it was better.
That's crazy that you're hitting it off the toe and it's spinning that much. There you go. All right. So got some baseline driver numbers here for, this is a standard driver build. And just the way you deliver, and I think you said this kind of off camera too, Coss, that you come down on the ball a little bit with your driver. So there is a little more spin than maybe, other players out there of your speed, I would say.
Yeah.
But, keeping the ball relatively straight. See on the dispersion, this is, we got a tight fairway out here at Titleist Performance Institute. But your average total distance at 276. Anything in particular here that, as we transition to the Thriver, like any numbers you're looking at in particular or paying attention to?
Well, I mean, spin rate again with that downward attack angle, something that I'm working on, but I think hopefully a little shorter shaft allow me to shallow out maybe a little bit, take down the spin numbers.
Yeah.
Launch angle, I think is pretty standard for me. And club head speed is pretty standard for a driver, 110, 111, something like that. I'll be curious to see with the Thriver if that comes down at all, or if I can keep the speed up and maybe get some more consistency down the fairway.
Yeah. Here's I'll give this to you right here. And then actually, first thing I want you to do is just set up like you're going to swing, but I want you to tell me how, obviously the club head looks pretty similar. You might see a little more loft, but does it feel really kind of different and weird almost to set up to a driver like that?
It does. Again, it feels like a very short shaft for a driver. Because, when you look down at the driver, you see your normal driver size head. There's nothing different about the size here.
Right.
I definitely see the more loft, which for me inspires a little bit of confidence as far as being able to control the ball down the fairway. As someone that does come in a little steep, that extra loft actually helps with some control down the fairway.
Okay.
So
yeah, and that's the other thing too is we could see just overall saw better contact with a shorter shaft, right? It's maybe
a little easier to control. White beat. All right, let's flatten her out.
So for you, you don't play any type of mini driver right now, do you?
I do not. No.
So, not saying, you're going to put a mini driver in the bag or what have you, but is there a number distance-wise, carry number that you'd be like looking for if you were to put one in the bag? Like, because another important piece of something like this, a Thriver, is going to be the gapping of it, where, for some people it might be their longest club. They might just use this as a driver.
Right.
For some people it might be a secondary T club where there needs to be enough of a distance, difference from their driver. So is there a number that you would, want?
Yeah, I think for a golfer that's looking to hit something off the tee with a little bit more control, similar to maybe a strong 3-wood, but may want forgiveness in the shape and the size of the driver head, this would be a perfect option. Mm-hmm. Someone that maybe doesn't hit it off the deck with a 3-wood, maybe they've gone to some higher lofted, a 5-wood, a 4-wood, 7-wood combination. This might fit in that gap as an alternative tee shot club. As far as distance though, for me, I would expect this thing to go probably around 260.
Yeah. Okay.
If I hit it good.
There you go, 260. Just like that.
Right, 13.3. My club head speed's down a little bit, obviously with the shorter shaft. I think that's
noticing launch is up, about, I think on the average is about 3 degrees higher, which makes a lot of sense.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's funny, the spin rate is similar. I think I'm obviously delivering the club the same way.
Yeah, but also part of that too is it's lower in speed as well. So,
right.
A lot of times speed is a big factor in generating spin. And so if you're swinging your driver, 5-6 more miles an hour, it's going to, I guess it's not crazy to think that the spin would be close here. Yeah. So they're both driver heads, right? So from that perspective, they could be similar.
And I think it's something you gotta maybe get used to, just looking down on it. But yeah, I could get used to that shorter shaft.
Yeah.
Just adds a little element of control. And honestly, a lot of the courses, sometimes that's all you need. 260, 270.
Right.
Keep it in play and make birdies and pars with wedges.
Yeah. That one may be slightly on the low part of the face.
And a little toey, I think.
Okay. So we can maybe hit one more here, get a sort of a comparison, but I like what we're seeing just in terms of how consistent the distance has been on it. Yeah. There's
I would take that all day right there, honestly, with a little shorter shaft.
So let's look at this. So we got some dispersion. We've got, I'll bring up numbers here as well. A lot of things that you thought would happen did happen here, where clubhead speed and ball speed went down, which makes sense. You're hitting them both with similar efficiency, but we brought in the consistency of the distance. Yeah, deviation's only 4 yards versus a little bit, wider dispersion distance with the driver, which makes sense. You're also, in terms of the average, you got about 14 to 15 yards carry difference there.
Yeah.
Which I think is enough of a window to, let's say there's, the hole for you would get skinny right around 260 yards. Well, okay, I'll take out the Thriver, put basically a driver swing on it, and I can hit my same shot that kind of, like you kind of hit that high cut, drops in the fairway short of that obstacle, and you're on your way. So I think that seems like what this club would accomplish. And again, I like how consistent the distance was here, where your distances aren't all over the place. Anything else jump out at you just from testing it?
Again, the feel, the sound, everything that Ping is known for is absolutely standing out there. The forgiveness, these were definitely not solid across the face consistently, but it produced some similar results, some predictable results. Mm-hmm. And then again, I think you get used to a little bit of that shorter shaft, and it plays out right with the right set and different functions out in the golf course. It could be a nice fit for some golfers. Yeah,
I think it's still going to be in a sense like a niche thing, but I think a lot of players are considering new options in the bag. And so this is another one. And Ping's kind of, again, it's not a mini driver, but it's an alternative, as you described, an alternative tee option for someone to use. Could be function as their driver. It could function as a secondary driver for them to use off the tee. But I think there's as we test today, there's distinct differences between a driver setup for them, as you play 90-degree drivers, so that's what we used here, and then what this could serve as in terms of a gap as well. So pretty good stuff. I mean, it's consistent. It gives players plenty of spin and control. You're able to hit the shot shape that you like, and it delivers, I think. So something to consider for golfers here in 2025 and beyond.
Yeah, sounds good.